Welcome to the Sunday Omnibros Live show. Today, you have myself, Gabe, Gabe Infinity Watch, Gabe Loves 90s Comics, whatever you want to call me. That doesn't matter because I do have another Omnibro with me today. We have the one and only Gio from A Week in Geekdom. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Gabe. Hi, everybody in the chat. Everybody watching later. Happy to be here and happy to have another day to share some geeky news and answer some questions and just have a ton of fun today with the chat.
Excellent. Let's see. How are they playing around with this? Yeah. Again, thanks to everybody who shows up in the chat today. It'll be just the Geo and the Gabe. It's the two G's of the Omnibros on today. So thanks for showing up, everybody. Leave some comments in. We'll do some Q&A. We'll chit chat. I think the path of this episode will be based up to the chat, I think. So let us know what's going on. Give us some questions. We'll do some answers. We'll do a little bit of news. There wasn't a lot of news this week, was it, Gio?
Yeah, it was pretty light. I mean, we do have some things that I want to talk about, but for the most part, it was a pretty light week.
Yeah, there's those couple things that I think you and Jess posted in our chat that was interesting, but I kind of want to get everybody on it to talk about. You know, the whole thing about Jim Lee talking about how their digital sales of comics are not quite what they were hoping it would be. How it's kind of starting to maybe plateau or even dip. And that was a really, really interesting kind of article and topic. But I think it'd be a lot better if we saved that when we have Jess and Omar and some other folks on here to say what's up about it as well. But sky is falling, everybody. Digital sales for DC are not doing so well, and it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean much at all. But what have you been up to, Gio? How's life?
Doing pretty well. I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about this on stream or not, but I recently have here my 3DS XL, and thanks to some members on the community and a good friend on the Omnibus group, I was able to learn how to mod this so I can play some games that I'm not supposed to be playing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been finding a bunch of old video games or finding them, or you've been buying them. I don't know what you've been up to, but
I recently got I have an arcade one up, and I'm trying to mod it with a Raspberry Pi so I can play all the arcade games and all that stuff. And I'm ready to do that soon. I have all the pieces. I just haven't gotten around to doing it. And it just kickstarted my love for gaming again, because I was sort of, I hit a wall after a certain time, and I wasn't really paying attention to gaming and the culture and all that stuff. But recently, with all that stuff, I went back into the collective nature of it, and I'm really excited. I booted up my Switch, which I was not using. I bought a few games for it, and I'm just starting to slowly play all those video games. And I showed, I think it was last Monday, I got some Metroid games because that's one of my favorite Nintendo series. And what I want to do is I want to at first I want to play all the Metroid games, but eventually I do want to collect them. Some are pricey though, but that's part of the fun of the hobby. But I do want to collect them. So for the NES, for the Super Nintendo, for the Game Boy, the 3DS stuff, all that stuff. I want to collect it and have like the big Metroid library. So that's sort of a side project from all the comic book reading.
No, that's cool, man. Because for a while I was getting into retro video games as well. I kind of fell out of it for a second just because you gotta focus on one thing, and money needs to be funneled one way. But yeah, so seeing you, man, you got like that X-Men game. I think you had Aladdin. There's a lot of games that I was looking for. I was like, oh man, Gio's got all the great stuff. But when you said you're collecting for Metroid, you mean you just want the one game on each console, or are you looking for like like variants and like any of the big box stuff or different versions of it?
For now, just whatever I could get my hands on, and maybe at a later time when the funds are a little bit better, I can go for like the complete inbox and all that stuff. I recently got the GBA games loose. Hopefully, it's not a bootleg. The seller seemed trustworthy, so I'm hoping it's not a bootleg. But regardless, I just hope it works and I can play it.
Cool.
But eventually, I will get into the complete inbox game. That's going to be pricey.
Yeah, I got a couple complete in box games. I got a beautiful Metroid. I'm sorry, Ninja Gaiden 1.
Nice.
One thing that I've found, because now the comic book dealers are jumping in on the sealed video game market and getting the sealed games graded, and are able to turn those things around for a massive profit. It is crazy insane what's going on in not the used video game, but the retro sealed games. Like, especially if you're talking about like the original Nintendo games, like Metroid. Like, if you have a sealed copy of Metroid first print, like hang tab version, and you get that graded, that's thousands of dollars. But you can get that sealed game for a couple of $100 probably. Wow. So there's this really crazy influx and huge leap forward in the video game collecting market, because there's a lot of things that longtime video game collectors are very ignorant on and not quite sure about, because usually as a video game collector, you just collect the games. But now they're starting to come up with ideas of variants and which one are the first prints and how to determine what's the first print of a game, things like that. Like, I have a first print Metroid. It's not sealed. It's a loose cart, but it's the five screw. I've shown it on the show before, but it's the 5 screw Metroid. Yeah. Same thing with Zelda. I got the first print Zelda 5 screw, stuff like that. So there's a lot of really cool things that you could fall into, but it's getting really competitive right now. So so stay away from the sealed stuff unless you really want to blow some money and you're really doing it to flip it and turn a profit for sure.
I would like to flip some games, but I'm not too sure yet. I'm starting out with Metroid, and I'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, what I mean by flip, I mean like big boy status. Like, you bought a $500 sealed game, you paid the $45 for WADA to grade it, and then it turned into a $3,000 game. Like, big steps like that. I still want to get more into the retro gaming stuff, but I don't want to get too deep into the sealed stuff or anything like that whatsoever, because that's super pricey and scary. But I want to just get the old school comic book video games that I love. I still don't have a Maximum Carnage. All this time, I still haven't plunked down for a Maximum Carnage on the Genesis or Super Nintendo yet. So,
yeah. How much are they going for?
I don't know, like $50, $60. It's not the price of a discounted omnibus.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Right, but I still need to get a console. I have a Super Nintendo.
The only Nintendo console I don't physically own is a Super Nintendo. I have a NES, and then for some reason I never got a Super Nintendo. And then I have the 64, the Wii, GameCube, all that stuff. I used to play it with a family member, but that was his copy, his console, but I never owned it. So I don't know if I want to get the mini SNES or I want to get the like an actual retro Super Nintendo.
Yeah, they're cool. I never had a Super Nintendo as a kid. I had a Sega Genesis.
Same.
So the Super Nintendo I got now is the only one that it's the only one I've had. I got it recently. So yeah, but yeah, I was NES, and then I had a Genesis. I had a TurboGrafx 16. I had PlayStation. I didn't have a Dreamcast. I had a Game Boy, an original Game Boy. PlayStation 1. I loved the PlayStation 1. That was a great console.
Yep.
I had a PlayStation 2 for about 4 months, and then it broke down on me.
Oh.
And I never knew that you could just call like the company and go, hey, it doesn't work, fix it for me. Like, I never knew that was a thing. So I just stopped playing video games for a while until the original Xbox came out.
I never played the Dreamcast. I had a Game Boy Color and the original Game Boy, PlayStation, all the PlayStations. But yeah, the Sega stuff, I only had the Genesis.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe one day I'll go crazy and I'll get all those old consoles I'm missing.
It's fun, man. It's fun, and it's really, compared to comic books, it's fairly inexpensive.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it gets a little bit more up there if you want to do like CIB, if you want to do complete in box.
Yeah.
Or if you want to do like hardcore complete in box, like you want like the little styrofoam in there and you want all the inserts and all that stuff. So it's fun because you could buy a loose cart, you could buy a box, you could buy a manual, all separate, and you kind of hunt these pieces down and form it together.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it gets a little pricey and not a lot. Or you can just get like loose carts, and that's nothing. That's really inexpensive for a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So,
mm-hmm.
All right. So let's see. We got some good questions in the chat, but first, I want to give a special shout out to our boy Lionheart.
I was just gonna do that.
Oh, nice. Yeah, we see you, bud. Happy birthday to you, Lionheart.
Happy birthday.
For spending your birthday morning with us.
Yes.
That is very cool of you.
Happy birthday, and to many more.
And real quick, Johnny Rando, he says his birthday is tomorrow.
Whoa, nice.
So happy early birthday to you, Johnny. If you join us tomorrow, we'll give you another birthday shout out. How's that sound?
Yeah.
So thanks again for joining us, guys, especially for you guys who have your birthday. That's nice to that you're spending your time with us. We appreciate that. You can be anywhere you wanted to be, but here you are with us. So let's see what we got going on here. How about this, Gio, from Beal74? Have you seen The Boys on Amazon? And
I have
any
not.
thoughts on it? No?
I have not. I don't have Amazon Prime.
Do you really want to watch? Do you really want to watch The Boys?
Yeah, just so I'll know what the heck's going on in the entertainment world.
Okay.
I'll watch it.
Well, if you want to, I'll give you my password.
Just don't worry about it.
Don't go buying a bunch of shit.
Don't worry about it. I'll find a way to watch it.
I just wanted, yeah, cool. So I have seen The Boys. It's is it 8 episodes, 9 episodes? It's a good length season. It's not how seasons used to be a couple years ago, where it's like 15 episodes and there was like 5 episodes too long, it felt like, and things like that. It's a very pretty concise, well done season. The show is mild compared to the actual comic book. The comic book is extremely violent. It's a little coarse. So it's very vulgar. All the things that I love. They don't do a lot of that stuff in the show itself. There is a lot of topical, controversial violence or topics that do happen in the show, but it's not as extreme as it was in the comic, which I think might be a good thing, because some of that extremeness for me got a little too far, and I was like, this is kind of stupid now. It's gotten very Garth Ennis, where he kind of pushed it a little too far, and it wasn't fun anymore in the comic, and I stopped reading it for a while. But the show was really good. A lot of good stuff out there. It's good to see, because since the book had came out, God, what's that actor's name from the Star Trek movies?
Carl Urban?
No, Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg? Okay.
Was always like modeled, little Huey was always modeled after Simon Pegg. It looked like, and probably was. But he doesn't get to play Huey in the show, but he plays Huey's dad, who's also named as Huey. So there's like this weird kind of
meta humor.
Yeah, exactly. So you get Simon Pegg did get to play Huey, technically. Carl Urban's great in it. The woman that plays Starlight, who is like the female protagonist of the show, is really great in it. Everybody's in it's really good. So it's a good show. It's concise. It does end on a very hardcore cliffhanger. Like, I didn't know it was over. I was like, what is over? Like the credits started rolling. I didn't see like the play next episode thing on my TV. So it does leave you wanting a lot more. So that's a good thing, and it's also kind of an irritating thing, but that's how it is.
Got a little thing from Thomas for you.
The boys are too much for Gabe. Yeah. It wasn't that it was too much. It just got stupid. Have you read The Boys, Gio?
Nope, I have not. I have it. I have the first volume on my iPad because I had some credit and I bought it, but I've never read it. I need to do that.
It's good. It's good. It just after a while, it just got really they just try to. It felt like they wanted to just keep topping their last extreme moment.
Speaking of extreme moments, have we talked about our favorite sponsor?
Gabe? Oh, we have not talked about our sponsor. Holy moly. Sorry, this is my first day. So yeah, real quick, I wish I had a banner for them. This awesome show is made possible by our even more awesome sponsor, and that is InStockTrades.com. If you collect or read your comic books in a collected format, omnibus, oversized hardcovers, trade paperbacks, epic collections, whatever it is, you need to check out InStockTrades.com. Yes, sir. There you go. Look at that. InStockTrades.com, where you will find all of your collected comic book products at an extreme discount. They start from anywhere from 42% all the way up to 50% off on new books every week. Depending on the publisher, sometimes it's a little bit less. You get free shipping in the US if your order is $50 or more, which is really easy to do. And you get great, amazing packaging. And the customer service through InStockTrades.com is top notch. They put everybody else's customer service to shame. Same with the packaging. The packaging is so good, you have to keep it and use it for the next time that you mail something out to a friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I've done that.
Always.
It's great packaging.
I have a small silo of foam packaging from InStock Trades that I keep and boxes. So when I sell my books or when I send something out to somebody, I'm using what I think is going to be the best way to get it there. So shout out to InStock Trades. Thanks for sponsoring our show. Everybody give them a little bit of a hand, and not a hand like they need help, but like applause, because they do sponsor the show and they do keep this hobby affordable for sure. And join us tomorrow on Monday's show, where we will go over this week's releases and talk about what the in-stock discounted prices would be as well.
Yes.
And while you're here, follow Omnibrosllive on Instagram so you can get updates on all this stuff as well.
Nice.
Give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up.
Yes.
All right. All right, Gio, take a look at the questions and see what we got going on today, sir.
All right. Let's see. I thought this was pretty funny. Shoot, where is it? I lost the...
Oh.
Jess should just do a recorded jingle for future use.
That would be a cool idea if we could figure out how to use like this banner stuff better. I know you can do like an intro video. I've seen other live shows do like the really cool intro videos before the show starts. But I don't want us to pay for StreamYard stuff. Oh, is this a $2? Is that a super chat?
I don't think so. It's just a regular comment. Or it could be a super chat. I'm not seeing it on the StreamYard page. So I apologize.
Oh, no, it is. It's on, if I look on the YouTube page. So Drunk T. Thank you for the $2. I don't know what the A stands for. That might be Australian money.
All right.
Always super.
I think it's
always like super appreciated.
A $2 from Drunk T. Like here's a question for. I don't know.
No, it's a super chat. It's highlighted in
Okay.
The actual YouTube chat.
Got it.
So always appreciate it. Thank you for that. His
Thank
question
you.
is, how do you take care of your collection? Temperature and humidity. That's a good question because you and I both live in different
Oh yeah.
environments.
Yeah. Very extreme environments.
It is one side of the spectrum and the other, like for real.
I mean, for myself, I usually have fans on, and so the room is always cool. And it being a Calyx shelf, there's the airflow works pretty well, and I don't think the pages have gotten humid or wavy and all that stuff. But if they did, what I usually try and do is I just keep the what do you call those things where you put the little gel thingies and then with the humidity it melts off and you know that it's humid. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
No idea. Well, because you live in a tropical paradise.
I mean, yeah, the temperatures are usually in the 80-degree range, but from time to time it will get very humid and very hot, but not to the point where my books are affected, especially because I live near the coast, so it's always breezy. I'm sure if you go inward in the mountain region, it is going to affect you, but for the most part, I just try and keep the temperature at a cool level in the reading area.
I don't do anything special, honestly. I live in Las Vegas. I went outside today to get coffee, and it's probably 50 billion degrees out.
Oh man.
But inside is just, you live in this environment. You live in AC, so I mean, the AC is on all day. The AC is on all night this time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Vegas has very, very little humidity, so I don't have to worry about any of that. I don't have to worry about my books being wavy or the pages getting wavy or anything like that. But there is, for people who do live in like humid regions where it is a concern. I've seen on the group, or I've seen like in person, where the pages do get wavy because of the moisture in the air, and they do have.
Thank you, Joseph. He knows what I'm talking about.
What is that? Damp
rid? Yeah. It's like a little basket.
No idea what that
it's
is.
Like a little basket, and it comes with some like little gel pebbles that eat away the moisture, and once it dissolves into liquid, and you throw the liquid away, and then you refill it with more of those thingies.
But yeah, I know people who do use dehumidifiers and other devices like that to
that's a good
keep
one.
their stuff together. Yeah. So if that's something you worry about, go for it. Or if you get a book, it's wavy, don't freak out. It's not damaged. It's not a permanent thing. It'll take time for those pages to kind of adapt to its new environment. So Geo lives in paradise. I live on the face of the earth.
Silica gel. Yeah.
Silica gel.
Yeah, Johnny. It's a blessing.
Yeah, Vegas is brutal. I melt when I go there. Yeah, it's really only bad the last couple of months of summer. Like all the way up until about the end of July. It got hot, and hot meaning like 100 degrees, maybe a little bit hotter than 100.
Yeah.
But Vegas heat is like 120.
Oh man.
So that didn't really hit until about the end of July and now into August, where it's 120 almost on a regular 110, 115, 120 on an almost daily basis. And the thing with Vegas is it doesn't cool off at night. I'm sorry, it does cool off at night. It goes from like 115 to like 110. So that's maybe 100.
Oh,
that's when it's cool. But the rest of the year, it's absolutely beautiful out here. I love the autumn time and the winter and the spring out here. It's just the last couple of months of summer have really sucked.
Awesome. Hey, Lionheart has a good tip for for our topic, and keep it out of direct sunlight. That's a smart thing to do.
Yeah, same with my books. I have like shutters in my room. and usually the shutters are more or less open, like the one behind me. I can't. This thing is backwards.
Mhm.
Usually that's open, but only if it's not direct sunlight hitting like the spinner rack or anything like that. Like sunlight's okay, but if it's direct sunlight where it's like a beam hitting your books, that's something you want to avoid as well for sure, because that will make your stuff fade.
Yep.
Gabe lives in the devil's playground. I live in the devil's butthole.
Here's another tip: blackout curtains.
Yeah, I have I honestly have a Batman blanket in my my room here. I have a sliding glass door to the backyard,
Nice.
and this room is hot as shit. It sucks, probably because of that stupid sliding glass door. I would love to just get like a contract with somebody out here, to just rip it out and just make it a wall, or maybe just like a small door to the backyard instead of like this giant sliding glass door. But I literally have a Batman blanket over that window.
Yeah.
I don't know if it really does much, but because this room is the only hot room in the house. Okay, let's see. So here's something from Craig Baz in the chat. Can someone explain which variant covers to get for House of X? Like, are certain ones rather than others?
I have no idea. You're the expert on singles.
Okay, so this is my advice as somebody who runs a comic book store and who sells variants and sells single issues on a regular daily basis as my livelihood. Get whatever variant covers you want. Don't go chasing whatever the hot cool one is, or the one that's like so cool that it's expensive, like 1 in 500 variants. And what that means is a 1 in 500 variant, for people who don't know, basically means that me as a store, I have to order 500 copies of the regular cover to get one cover of this special variant. So I have to spend 500 copies worth of comics to get this one comic to sell to somebody. Those are extremely expensive. Same with like anything like that. That's 1 in 100s, 1 in 200s, 1 in 250s, anything like that. Super crazy prices a lot of times. Don't, as my advice to you, don't go chasing the crazy variants. Unless you legitimately just want it in your collection and that's the one cover that you like, that's the one cover that you love, and then that's the best. With House of X, I don't collect singles, but I did go out and through different means and different hookups and things like that, I did get the Joe Madureira
Oh,
House
that
of
looks
X
nice.
variant. I have it up here. I don't want to go get up and get it. But that's because I really wanted it, and I'm not buying it in hopes of flipping it or in hopes of it being an investment or anything like that. Don't try to make variants an investment, because it's almost like a new car. The moment you take that comic book out of the store, same way the moment you drive a car off the lot, it loses all of its value. So get something that is valuable to you personally, or to your collection. So find the ones that you like the best. There's a lot of nice ones out there. Like there's the connecting covers. There's like the Mark Brooks covers. The connecting covers this week, I think, was the Purdy cover, Purti, I think is the guy's last name. Beautiful, beautiful cover of all the X women. So great stuff with that. But just don't go crazy and try to make it a thing where you're going to buy it as an investment. Find whatever cover you personally like and just get that one. Don't buy all of them. Don't try to get what's hot. Just get what you like. And that's coming from somebody like me, where it's my job to sell these stupid, crazy variants to everybody that wants them. So that's my advice.
Good advice. Let's see.
Hey, you don't buy singles at all or anything, right, Gio?
I used to, when it looks like something I could hang in a wall and protect for display purposes. But yeah, I stopped. I think 2 years ago I stopped.
Is there what's the LCS is like in Puerto Rico? Is there any? Is that a thing?
I used to have one that was literally a minute away from where I work. So that was dangerous because I would go to the store, buy something, and then go to work, or leave my work area, go to the store, buy something, and get home. It closed down because the owners, and I love telling the story. It closed down because the owner got too greedy and wanted to do like a series of mini cons in different hotels and different areas instead of the local shop. Like he would do the Halloween. What's the Halloween event called for shops?
Halloween Fest, I
Halloween.
think it is.
Yeah, he wanted to do that in. Okay, I live like northwest area. He wanted to go to San Juan and into a hotel with like a ton of guests. The whole thing cost I think it was like $14,000 what he wanted to do, and the store had a budget, and he blew past that, and I think he only got like $6,000 in earnings. So it was a huge disaster. And
Oh,
then
that sucks.
orders started piling up, and eventually orders were a week late, then 2 weeks, and 3 weeks, and eventually it was like a month and a half.
That's the sign. That's the beginning.
And then that was in Halloween Fest. So by October, I'm going to say 2016 or December 2016, it just closed down. I was actually their last customer when they were clearing everything out. I think they had like some leftover action figures that I wanted on discount for like 10 or $15. I'm like, yeah, I'll take them. So I was technically their last customer. And yeah, they had some great employees and that I am friends with, but the management was a disaster because again, they got too greedy. They wanted to do a lot of things instead of keeping it local. So I
see that a lot.
no longer have an LCS. The nearest one near me, the nearest one, sorry, would be like an hour and a half away, and I don't want to go there because they just focus on single issues. They never buy any trades or omnis or hardcovers. And I think I have another one in San Juan, but again, that's like an hour and a half, 2 hours. I don't want to do
Not worth
that.
it. That's too much. That's too much. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just visit my sponsor, In Stock Trades, and order all the books from there.
Or even for singles, In Stock Trades' parent company, DCBS, discountcomicbookservice.com. I used to get my singles through them because you would order your books like 3 months in advance. So it'd be like when solicitations would come out and like the new previews would come out, you can go to their website and order those books basically like 2 months in advance, prepay for it, and they were yours. And then they get shipped to your house in stock trade style. They use it's the same company. And probably at the same warehouse, I'm not sure. But if they use the same foam packaging and the same, meticulous packing style that you only can find with in stock trade, DCBS does the same thing. I used to work at a different comic book store that really didn't give me much of an employee discount. So I worked in the comic book store, but I would buy my singles through DCBS because it was a better discount, So that's a good. I honestly have recommended that site to people from my store, like customers at my store, who are moving away and going to a place that doesn't have a good comic book store, or they don't know about, if there's a good comic book store out there or not. So I have no problem telling them, hey, because I'm not going to do mail order at my store. That's ridiculous. That's too much work and tracking, and there's a lot of meticulous stuff involved with that I don't want to get involved with. So I don't want to do mail order pull boxes. So I had no problem going, hey, check out this website. This is how it works. Go through them, and if you find a good local comic book store, support your local comic book store if it's good. But if you don't have one, then you still want your singles. I don't want you to fall out of the comic book game, and because he was worried, I'm not going to know how these stories are going to end because I can't get comics anywhere. I go, well, here's where you go to get your comics. But yeah, so that sucks to hear that your comic book stores out there are so far away from you.
Yep.
Stores closing down. I've gotten into this rant before. I've gotten into this on online and in person. It's the store's fault. There's a lot of pitfalls
Mm-hmm.
in the comic book business that you need to avoid at all costs, and doing things like overspending on Free Comic Book Day, or these little Halloween fest things, or things like that. Going out of your means are ridiculous and crazy and hard to do. And once a store starts missing their shipments and their shipment starts coming late,
Yep.
that's the sign of doomsday. That's the end of that store. It happens out here. People start coming to our store saying, "Hey, they didn't get, my normal comic book store didn't get their books on time this week, so I got to come to Torpedo to get my books this week." That's the mark of the end right there, unfortunately.
And like the thing that I found really funny was that my former shop, the actual building is really nice, and you could fit a few hundred people in there easily, and there's a parking lot where you can do different activities and stuff. But he wanted to take this event like 2 hours away driving time. You're asking people to not go to your store and go to a hotel to spend money getting there, plus tolls and food and what you're going to buy there. So you're doubling the spending on your regular clients. So nobody went there to the activity that he wanted to do, with the Halloween thing. And it was just people from a different area that were going to that event. So yeah, I think, if I remember correctly, it was like a $14,000 investment, and they only got like $5,000 or $6,000 out of it. So that was terrible.
That's a big loss right there. That's a big loss, because usually you want to double your money at least to be profitable, and that's a negative. So it's even bigger hit. And that's the kind of stuff that you could have just done in store. You don't need to go move this event to the other side of the country.
Mm-hmm.
T-Von Lawrence, thank you very much for your super chat. His question is, best to store Omnis standing or laying flat? Well, if you could see, if it's any indication on what you see in my background,
yeah,
I have both because I'm lazy. But I'm actually just trying to make room. So I do have a lot of I have the Thanos omnibus there laying flat. That's just because I'm trying to find room and I need to plug it in. But get a shelf, and slide them in standing up. That's probably your best bet. It's probably a bigger space saver as well.
Yep.
And if you stack it, and not just that, but if you're laying books flat and you're stacking books flat, it's going to be a pain in the ass to try and, if you want to read the book that's on the bottom of that stack, So definitely put them in there like a normal bookcase would.
Exactly. I've seen different stuff online saying both damage the spine, but I see all your collections are stored vertically. Yeah, I haven't had any problems so far in all my years collecting books.
No, the only time, again, I don't like to keep throwing out there that I work in the store and I know better, but from what I've seen, the only time standing a book vertical is going to damage it is if it's like, you ever been to a store and they don't have a lot of stuff on their shelf and it's like leaning over or it's tilted. Mm-hmm. That's what's gonna mess up your spine. It just standing there vertically and tight in like a cube like this shouldn't be a problem. You should be okay. And I think it looks nicer.
Mm-hmm. Here's another question.
Question about old comics. I like old comics. Has the Khazar run by Bruce Jones been collected in any format already, namely the Divine Comedy Adventure? I don't know. I was looking recently and I found a Khazar collected edition that was, I think it was the Mark Waid and Andy Kubert run. But I think Khazar is just one of those characters that just nobody cares enough about to make it worthwhile to do any kind of collected editions.
Yeah, I haven't read much, so I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't even seen much.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could look and see, but I have a feeling it's probably going to be fruitless to kind of search for it, but we'll see what we can find. So, Gio, since I know you don't get regular single issues, but what are you doing about Hickman's X-Men? Anything?
I got the first issue that Jess told me about, but I haven't read it.
Oh no.
Yeah, because I'm so out of the loop, and I know a lot of people can just jump in; they'll be confused. I'll probably be too, but I haven't gotten around to it simply because I'm not used to reading X-Men material that often. So, but yeah, I'll eventually read it. I know everybody's going crazy about it.
Yeah, it's really like that's like the hot book right now. It's House of X2 that came out this week. Really, really good stuff. Lionheart says best ways to store Omni is standing side by side. If you stack them on top of one another, the weight of the book can go in one direction, and that really messes up the spine of the book. So I can see that being it as well.
I have the Behold Galactus king-sized book, but that has to lay flat because I can't stand that up.
Yeah, all my artist editions and like the that Galactus book, the Behold Galactus book, is the only thing I have stacked. Just because, again, I can't find anywhere else to really kind of put them.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when you got your Behold Galactus, your post office gave you a hassle about it because they didn't. It was media mail, right?
It's this huge box, and they're like, media mail is supposed to be for books. I'm like, but there is a book inside. No, that box is too big. Well, we're going to have to open it. Go ahead, open it. You're going to find a book inside. They open it, and it's like, oh, there's a book inside. I told you. There's a book.
Awesome.
But whatever. I should have told them, behold, Galactus. But
you should have. Behold, packing peanuts all over your store. Here's something that only Gio would know. What's shipping like down there?
It is the same. It's the same thing because it's USPS. So, but sometimes people do want to charge a little bit more simply because it's not continental US. So those of us that live in Alaska, Hawaii, and Puerto Rico, we are subject to people not wanting to ship things fairly like the rest of the states. And usually with in-stock trades, there's no problem. It's the same as everybody else. But with like a regular seller, let's say shipping to Georgia, he would charge like, oh, just $5 or $6. And then he sees that I'm in Puerto Rico, and then he's going to charge me like, oh, it's like $8 or $10 for shipping a thing. So it really depends on the size of the package, I guess. But for the most part, I haven't had any problems. It's typically the same. Usually companies, what they'll do is I did find on one of those t-shirt sites, I found a really cool Metroid shirt that hopefully I can show you guys on the show. And the shipping was $4.99, but when I put in my address, $6.99. I'm like, oh, it's just a shirt. Come on. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming it has to be because it's either flown or on boat, right? So I'm guessing there's another cost involved in sending it over to you guys.
Yeah, if it's books, usually it's just media mail via boat, so that's like a 2-week thing because it arrives in Jacksonville. That's the largest exporting airport thing in the U.S., and then it travels to San Juan and then to my town, all that stuff. So it's like a 2-week process to get my books, but I'm used to it by now.
So Adam wants to know if we talked about DC news and issues. Not really. We didn't go into it today. There wasn't a lot to really talk about, like news-wise, that we saw outside of the whole Jim Lee talking about the digital sales not doing so well. And then there was another article that kind of backed that up as well, saying how AT&T seems to not want to get involved in comic books so much, or the publishing side of things.
Yeah.
But we're going to wait till we have the rest of the dudes on, or at least another dude on here. Like if Jess was on here, it'd be great to talk to him about it because he's really good about that whole
The financial stuff.
Corporate inside trading
Mhm.
stuff. Yeah.
Ask us tomorrow. Harass us tomorrow to
Yeah.
answer
Bring it up
that.
tomorrow. That's,
Mhm.
because Jess will be on. Omar will be on.
Yep.
Gio's normally on Mondays. Mondays are a pretty good packed show as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm on every single day unless something comes up, or like for the Otaku Bros show, we're going to do a show soon that I don't have a ton of knowledge on, so I'm going to pass the baton to somebody else, another of our auxiliary members. But I'm usually on every single show. I try to be on.
El Denver, is the Jeff Johns Teen Titans Omni out of print? I looked it up right now because I saw your question earlier, and it is through Diamond, through comic book retailer distributor services. Through Diamond, it is no longer orderable. It's called back issue or back ordered stock, which means their definition of back ordered stock is Diamond doesn't have any more, but they expect to get more from the publisher, which is not always the case. That happens a lot with these books. That's what I go off of. Like when you see on the Omnibros Instagram, or when I talk about, oh, this book is going out of print, or this book is no longer orderable. That is usually my first indication of that. That's usually where I base my information off of.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's back ordered stock, it means stores cannot get any more in stock currently, or they can't order any more. So right now, in stock trades, Torpedo Comics, Midtown, your local comic book store, anybody that goes through Diamond is no longer able to get more copies of that Jeff Johns Teen Titans Omnibus. Maybe shortly in time it'll go back in stock when if they get more from DC, but a lot of times that is not the case. That happened a lot with Miles Morales Omnibus. That was the first indication that was going out of print, and Batman Robin Omnibus, that first print of that. So as of right now, what you could find online,
That's it.
Amazon, in stock trades,
Mm-hmm.
whatever other websites out there, or what you might find in the wild in store shelves, is all that's left. So I didn't know that. That's a good question that came up. Yeah, I might just have to throw that up on the Instagram a little bit later to kind of give everybody a heads up.
And if you can't find it, don't worry about it, because you can still grab most of the trades, I think. Plus, they're really cheap, and you can find them from third-party sellers just in case they're out of print too. So don't worry about it. Because I know that Omni is like really thick.
Yeah, that's a big book. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a big old book.
Mhm.
Here's a quick one for me. Highlighter Gabe, how will Hickman's X-Men retcon affect back issue sales of more recent X storylines? It's hard to tell. Right now, because of House of X2, which was the big Moira McTaggart storyline, her first appearance, which is Uncanny X-Men 96, I want to say off the top of my head, 96, made that book a hot book. A lot of people are now looking for it. That's now like the number one hot book for this week, more or less. Of recent X-Men storylines, who knows? We're gonna have to kind of see what he has in store and what he's going to change, what kind of retcons. We don't know where he's throwing his pebble in the water, and we don't know where these ripples are really going to affect quite yet. So it's going to be fun and interesting to see how that works. And this guy's name is cool. Whale Status, Absolute Carnage. What you guys should be reading right now. Absolute Carnage was awesome. That was a really good first issue. It's 60 pages. It's like a $9 book, $8 book, something like that. But it's 60 pages, and it's all story. There isn't, a lot of times when they do these bigger books, it'll be like one issue of a comic book and then a reprint of like two other stupid old books that no one really cares about, and they're charging you extra for it. This is all 100% story, and it's all relevant to the story. So
what do I need to get started on that? Do I have to read the Kate's run because I haven't started that either.
I don't think you have to. I mean, as long as you have a basic idea of what's going on, Absolute Carnage #1 does a really good job of kind of keeping you, getting you up to date.
Nice.
So.
I know you've talked about this, Gabe, but this is pretty interesting too.
Yeah, I see that's been a trend a lot lately where these stores. So for our audio listeners, saw a store on Twitter complaining they had $870+ worth of comics and pull boxes, which customers did not pick up. That does happen. And like I was saying earlier, that is solely the fault of the store. So if you have pull box customers that aren't picking up their books and you're still holding on to these books for a long period of time where it's building up to a large dollar amount like this, like $870+, that's a lot of books. That's a lot of money. A store's number one concern is to sell those books. So you need to keep your pull box people accountable. You need to have communication with your pull box people. You need to be aware. This is something that a lot of comic book stores don't do in general. You need to be aware of everything going on in your store and outside of your store, like industry wise, because it's all going to be relative to your business and how your business is going to run and whether it's going to flourish or you're going to ask people to drive 2 hours away to do a stupid Halloween show, like in Gio's case earlier. You need to keep your people accountable, meaning you need every week when you add more, every week you get your shipment of books. You sell, these are for pull people. These go on the wall to sell to people who come in off the streets. Your pull box, when you put these pull box copies into people's pull box, you need to, I don't know why you aren't doing this, you need to look and go, wow, I just put in issue 4 of Spider-Man and this person still has issue 1 of Spider-Man in his box.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to call that person and say, hey, buddy, what's going on? You got some books in here. Yeah, I've seen you for a while. You got to look in your computer and say, okay, when's the last time this guy's been in? It's been about a month. It's been about 2 months. You need to contact that person. You need to have that open communication with that person and say, hey, bud, I haven't seen you for a minute. I still got your books here. Are you going to come in? Are you going to pick these books up? What's going on here? Mm-hmm. And set an expectation of, okay, I would like for you to come in within the next week or whatever agreed upon date and pick up these books. And whatever that agreed upon date, when that date hits and they don't show up, then you close this box, you put those books back on the shelf, and you sell them to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
That is your responsibility. You have to sell those books. This isn't a pawn shop. You can't just keep these books.
Exactly.
Here's my, I'm going to stop this. Here's my metaphor for a comic book store. Think of a comic book store as a grocery store. And I mean a regular grocery store. I don't mean like a Target or a Walmart that has, TVs and bicycles and video games and stuff like that. I mean a grocery store that sells just food products. So food products have an expiration date. Oranges and lettuce and milk and cabbage and everything like that has an expiration date. That if a grocery store orders too much oranges that don't sell and they spoil, you have to throw them away. Same thing with comic books. These comic books have a very, very short shelf life. Maybe, I think the longest you can really think about a book having a shelf life is until the next issue comes out. Because once issue 2 comes out, nobody cares about issue 1 anymore. So you need to try and sell as many of those issue 1s before issue 2 comes out. And if you're holding on to more issue 1s for people in their pull boxes, and issue 5 has came out, and now you're throwing issue 1s back on the shelf, it's just going to stay on the shelf. No one cares. Everybody's already got it for the most part. Mm-hmm. And you can use that for any issue. You have issue 15, and you're holding on to issue 15s for a bunch of people, and issue 25 is out, and now you have all these issue 15s. You're just stuck with issue 15 that nobody is going to want. They have expired. It is dead. Nobody cares about that product anymore, and you are stuck with it. So you need to set expectations with these pull box customers and let them know, hey, we're happy to give you a pull box. We will do work for you, where I will pull your books for you every week because you can't get here on Wednesdays, which is fine. This is a service that we offer for you. I'll even give you a discount because I know I can sell this book for ahead of time, so I know that this book is already pre-sold. So I'll give you a discount. The only thing you need to do is I ask that you please come in whatever your time frame is. For my store, it's a month. All I ask, I see you within a month, and you buy all your stuff once a month at the most minimum. Once a month, come in and buy all your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If that month hits and I see that I haven't seen any activity on your account, and that your box is still holding books, I'll give you a courtesy call. I'm not a bill collector. I'm not going to call threatening. I'm not going to call agitated. I'll just call, hey, Michael, what's going on, man? Haven't seen you for a little bit. How are you doing? Cool. Hey, we still got these books here. What's going on? Do you still want me to hold these for you? Are you still interested in these books? And if he says, yes, I'll be in the next couple of days, you note it in their account, or you note it however you note it, that Michael will be in by next Wednesday. Next Wednesday rolls around. He doesn't show up. You call him again and go, hey, man, we talked about this. Are you going to show up and get these books still? And I'll give him maybe another week. And I go, okay, you're going to be in by next Wednesday. Okay, I'll mark that in your account. If I don't see you next Wednesday, I have no other choice but the system to close your account, put your books out for sale. So if he comes in before that, cool, good. All gravy. Nothing awkward, nothing confrontational, nothing. If he doesn't come in by that date, his account's closed, and those books go out to sell for everybody else. That's just kind of how it works. If a store is not doing that, that's why they get stuck with $800 worth of books.
There you go.
And that's Comic Book Store 101, everybody.
That's how it should be. I don't know if you saw this question for you.
Will DMs be more available as Conan is still there? I don't know what the printing amount is they're doing on DMs. I think the DMs for the Conan is still around because they printed more this time because of the hype and the fiasco that happened with Conan Volume 1 DM. So there's more out there. And I also still think that nobody really cares about Conan. Not that. No one cares about Conan Volume 2.
Yeah.
You can't get Conan Volume 1. Volume 1 is long sold out, especially if you want the comic cover, the DM, the Barry Windsor Smith cover.
Yeah.
So I talked about this in our chat yesterday in our Omnibros chat, because I was making my order for the store of trade paperbacks and omnibus and all that kind of stuff. That if I can't, one of the examples I used was Brian Michael Bendis's Avengers complete collections. Okay, it's like, I forget how many volumes it is. Let's say it's 5 volumes. I forget. Doesn't matter.
I think it's like 4 or 5. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So it's 4 or 5 volumes. Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, Volume 4. Volume 1 is not orderable anymore. So I'm not going to order 2, 3, and 4 for my store because I can't sell 2, 3, and 4 without Volume 1 to sell Volume 2. I can't sell Volume 2 without Volume 3. So if I can't sell Volume 1, that means I can't sell Volume 2, which means I can't sell Volume. So I didn't order any of that crap. I can't. If I can't get Volume 1, no one's going to. I can do it. It happens where I could sell somebody just Volume 3 of a storyline. Because most of the time, these collected editions, it's a complete story. You know, it's like a season of a TV show. Mm-hmm. But the mentality of everybody today is they want to read it from the beginning. They want to read it from number 1. So they want the Volume 1. They can't get Volume 1. They're not going to buy a Volume 3 without Volume 1. So I know how my customer base is and their mentality of selling things and how things work, or their mentality of buying things. So if I can't get Volume 1, I have no reason to get 2, 3, and 4.
Exactly.
So that's the same thing with these Conan omnibuses or any of these second volumes. They usually end up sticking around a little bit longer if the Volume 1 is out of print. Like Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four, for instance. Volume 2 just recently went out of print. That book's been around for 5-6 years, I want to say.
I think so, yeah.
And the reason is because Volume 1 sold out and disappeared. So ask yourself, are you going to buy a Volume 2 without a Volume 1? If your answer is no, congratulations, you're the majority of the population who isn't going to do the same thing. So that's why those are still around. Yeah, my opinion.
Is Deadly Class Volume 1 out of print?
Are we talking about the hardcover?
I
I'll look
think
at the hardcover. I'll just assume it's the
think-
hardcover because that's what we're all about around here.
Yeah.
We're allergic to trade paperbacks, right?
Hydromax is so tall, I need to lay it on my KLX. Yeah. I did find a space for it, but it's like way too tall.
Yeah. I mean, like I had the Gunslinger editions for 6 gun. Even the regular deluxe versions of 6 gun are too big for a KLAX shelf. I have like the Hip Hop Family Tree. There's certain books I have that are bigger than the KLAX, and I stand them upward on the top of my KLAX shelf.
Mhm.
But things like the artist editions, those are way too big to kind of just sit spine out. That's not going to work. To answer the collector's question, Deadly Class Deluxe Volume 1 hardcover is still available.
Nice.
So is Volume 2. So that's still out there.
Joe Cool, I envy you because apparently it's quicker to Germany than to ship books over here. That's insane.
Wow.
And Worlds in Ink, South Africa, it's like $20 to start with and climbs with weight. Ugh. Talking about the shipping.
Yeah, that's the problem where everything is just located in one country. It's everything comes to America and then it goes outwards. So that's how it is.
Joe, I can answer this one for you. The difference is that the Miles Morales omnibus is in the Ultimate universe. So you read Ultimate Spider-Man with Ultimate Peter Parker, then that Miles omnibus. When it ends, you read Hickman's Secret Wars, and when you read that, comes the new Miles Omni that's coming out next year, which was, I think, it wasn't. It's like 15 issues, something like that, 15, 20 issues. I may be wrong, but it's a smaller run, but still good. When I should clarify, when Miles, spoilers, he's in the 616 universe.
Yeah, so the original Miles Omnibus is like Gio said, it's the ultimate stuff, and then the new one that's coming out is basically Volume 2, which takes place after Secret Wars, and Miles comes into the regular 616 Marvel universe.
You guys need to do an out of print show. So many new books like Harrow County Library Edition Volume 3 are out of print. Yeah, we kind of have to do one.
Yeah, it's funny. On my my Facebook, you get like the this time last year, kind of like memories thing, and it was sometime this time last year that we did a out of print show. So we're looking at that. It's really hard because it's difficult to try and say these books are out of print.
Yeah,
and then you always they're still on Amazon, or Amazon can still get more. Because the data I get, the information I get is only what comic book stores can order. Amazon gets them through different outlets and stuff like that. So it's really hard to. That's why I stress, that it means stores can't order more. Doesn't mean there isn't more coming sooner or later. A lot of times it's not, but there is times where that does end up happening. And I don't want to spark some kind of crazy hype train thing, and then all of a sudden here comes the influx of books and things like that, and we all look silly.
Adam, I agree. They should print those out faster. It's a little bit frustrating with the Dark Horse stuff.
They're pretty good about the Hellboy stuff, right? That stuff goes in and out of print pretty quickly, right?
Like usually it will go out of print and then takes them a few months to announce them, and it can be a little bit frustrating when you're collecting them.
Yeah.
And suddenly, Volume 5 is out of print. Damn it.
Yeah, I mean, like with IDW too, like when I was doing the orders yesterday, I showed you guys the TMNT hardcovers that Jess has been getting into, and because of you, and I've got back into because of you and Jess. A lot of those are falling out of print. I think it was 1, 3, and 7 are not orderable anymore for stores.
Yeah.
So it's just weird how these things just start falling out of print really, really fast, all at once almost.
Here's a question from Kenneth.
Good old Kenneth.
What are you guys' favorite DC animated movies? Oh boy, I have a lot.
Yeah.
I'm a huge animation nerd. That's my favorite genre of TV and film. And I can honestly, and it's going to be really controversial, because I remember in our subgroups, I once posted this, and somebody was giving me crap about it. The DC movies, what they've done is they've created what they call the DC animated movie universe. It's a set that was originally based on the New 52 era, but it has evolved to just take cues from different storylines and rework them in a new narrative. So in that sense, I like the majority of them. There are some movies that are lackluster, like Batman. What was it? Batman and Robin, or Batman versus Robin. One of the first, or Batman and Son, adapting the Morrison stuff, more or less. I didn't like that very much. There are a few that are just a couple duds, but for the most part, it's a new universe. So I like it. I like that it's an alternate thing. So I enjoy the stories that they're trying to tell based on comics I've read. That said, then yeah, my favorite is Throne of Atlantis. This should be easy for everybody to guess. It's the Aquaman solo movie in animation form.
Yeah, because they did a lot of good stuff with adapting the wider Justice League New 52 books in the comics. So you had they basically just went down the line of Justice League stories, from the first Darkseid story to Atlantis Attacks. So, some of my favorite DC animated movies. I'm in the same boat as Gio. We did a cartoon episode once on Omnibros, like a long time ago.
Yeah.
Where we just talked about cartoons and cartoon movies and cartoon shows and our DVD collections and things like that. Mask of the Phantasm.
Classic.
Goes without saying. Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker.
Another classic.
But if we kind of get into the newer stuff, some of my favorite stuff is Assault on Arkham, which I did not think I was going to like. That's a good one. That is what the Suicide Squad movie, I think, should have been. And what was one that recently came out not long ago?
Assault is in the Arkham game universe, by the way.
Oh, if anybody was wondering. Yeah. And Bad Blood. Is it Bad Blood? That was the one that's mainly a Batwoman movie. Yeah, that one's awesome. That one's super fantastic. So much. I love every second of it, even up to like the very, very last second of that movie. I don't want to spoil it, but there's a big reveal that happens at the last second of that movie. And I'm like, holy crap. So that's one of my, I could watch those ones over and over and over again. Some of the other ones, I used to pack them with comics, like the Batman Superman stuff, like Public Enemy, things like that were really good. Red Hood, Under the Red Hood is a good one.
Red Hood, another classic in my opinion.
And controversially, I do enjoy the Killing Joke one. I don't think it's as good as the book, because the book is what it is. It's one of those things that is a forever piece of Batman history and comic book history. But I like the movie. I like the changes. I don't care. I don't hold things on such a pedestal that Batman and Batgirl hate fucking each other. It bothers me. But yeah,
I mean, I get what they did, but me being such a Batgirl fan, I'm like, oh, come on, that was weird. But I still own the movie. I own every single animated movie for the DC stuff. But yeah, it's okay. I like it.
I missed the question. It was in here earlier. I don't know where it's at now. Everybody's asking so many good questions. It's kind of hard to kind of keep up. Somebody asked if the Super Sons Omnibus is out of print. And I looked it up. It's the same as the Teen Titans, where it's no longer orderable for stores, which again is my first indication that's going out of print. It means stores can't order more if they wanted to, and what you find on shelves and online is probably the last of it for right now. So that's another one I didn't know about that's fallen out of print.
Wow.
So it's Teen Titans and Super Sons.
Super Sons, yeah.
Yeah, Super Sons is a great book. I love that book. What were we saying, Gio?
Did we get to this question? I don't remember.
Gabe, what do you think about some comic book stores that quickly raise the price on a book that came out yesterday just because of new character appearance or special event? Okay, so that's a tricky one. What Omnipool is saying, and I'm going to try and interpret it this way, is right now a lot of new first appearances are coming out of new characters. Really just like, what was it, like Kingpin's daughter or so-and-so's daughter or some new first appearance. Like Arrow and Wave from the Agents of Atlas, things like that. So when these new books come out and there's a first appearance, all these speculator comic book people out there, and by speculator comic book people, I mean people who don't normally hold a pull list, who don't normally read that title on a regular basis, like Miles Morales, for instance. I think I'm going to get the issue number wrong. I'm sorry. I'm going to say the most recent Miles Morales series comic issue number 8 had the first appearance of some character. I forget what it is. There's just so much going on. I really don't care to keep that data in my brain all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So people who don't normally buy Miles Morales on a regular basis, who wasn't there from the beginning, getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, they see that number 8 is the first appearance of a character. They come out of nowhere into your comic book store and they try to buy them off the shelves. All right. So what Omnipool is talking about is some stores will notice that happening or catch it before it does happen because they saw it online, and then price that book up, the brand new single issue, not the variant cover, the brand new regular comic issue that happened. They will price it up from like the $4 comic book to like $20 or whatever it might be going for on eBay.
Yeah.
My opinion on that is, again, it's up to the store to decide, but that is a little shady. It's a little
Mm-hmm.
it's a slippery slope, because if you're pricing a book up immediately, then then why not price a book down if it's not selling anymore at that price? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's better if that happens. Like, that's one thing with pull boxes. A lot of times what happens when you close these pull boxes down, like I was talking about earlier, you will find these new like first appearance issues in people's boxes that you're closing. You go, oh sweet, we found copies of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 95, which is the first appearance of that female Ninja Turtle, Jenica. And we found a couple of those in closed pull boxes. Now those ones I don't have a problem, because this is 2-3 weeks down the road. I have no problem marking those up and putting them on the shelf at $20, $25, whatever the going rate is at the time. But if it's a new book on the shelf, I don't think you need to be pricing it up, because then you prevent people who are legitimately interested in just seeing what's going on. You prevent them from getting that book, and you prevent them from wanting to go to your store again because they know that you're marking your books up. But again, with these speculators who are going out there trying to get these books at cover price, turn around, flip them on eBay that same day for $20, those are the ones those are the people that are causing this to happen, because the store doesn't want to lose out on money, and a store doesn't want somebody else profiting off of them, if that makes any sense. So stores that do that, it's up to them. It's your product. You could tear them in half if you want. You can mark them to $100 if you want. It's your stuff. You can do what you want to do. There is no right or wrong in this world, period. In this society, I don't believe there's anything right or wrong. And in business, there is no right or wrong either. It is just the consequences of your actions. So you can do that if you want, but you are going to have to accept the consequences of that happening, being you getting known as the store that marks up new books immediately, getting known as the store that is gouging, being known as the store that people might not want to go to because they're only there to try and make extra money off of brand new books. So
Yep.
That's how that is.
Nice.
My Comic-Con trip schedule this week, or for this year, I think is done. I don't think I'm going to be doing any more shows. I'm not going to New York, and I don't think I'm going to Philly. So
the Gabe tour has ended. Sorry,
that's it. Yeah. If you didn't see me at WonderCon, Chicago, or San Diego, maybe next year.
Here's another question for us. Joe, when can we expect Black Hammer Library Edition 2 and Animal Deluxe 2?
I could look it up and see if it's even been solicited or anything like that.
Yeah, because I haven't heard anything about at least Animal Man Deluxe 2. I hope they do come out though.
Yeah. So Black Hammer that's another one that was falling in and out of print really fast all the time. It was out of print, going back into print or order status. I just started just calling it out of order or out of order. Instead of out of print. Right now, the only one that's in the system is Black Hammer Volume 1, and that's the same for Animal Man. So they haven't solicited any of that information for a second volume. There might not be, I don't know. I've never read Black Hammer, so I don't know where they are on issues or anything like that. But maybe there isn't enough content out yet to produce another hardcover.
They have, like, I started reading Volume 2, and it just exploded into like 100 different spin-off titles. So I don't know if they want to collect all those in a library edition, or they just want to keep focusing on the main Black Hammer comic as the issues go on. But I don't know. I have no idea when they're going to do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're all waiting, so we'll probably find out when you find out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here it is. That was River that was asking about Super Sons. Yeah, Super Sons. From what I see, it's out of order right now.
That's a shame.
And who knows how long it's going to take for those, especially with DC, and they're like restructuring. Like nobody really kind of knows what to really expect out of DC's collected editions department right now because of the restructuring that apparently happened.
Yep.
So but I'm happy to see these books go out of print. I think some of these omnibuses should be more of a collector's item and more scarce, I guess, or there shouldn't be I don't think they should always be readily available. They should be more of an exclusive kind of thing. But I'm glad to see that some of these DC ones are going out of print because there have never been that many DC books out of print before.
Mm-hmm.
They usually print, maybe they just print way too many, or just not enough people are interested.
Yep. Kevin asked, he wrote that he missed the Fear Agent library edition. Those are gone, like, for good, because Remender brought the license over to Image. So we're never going to see those library editions again being printed. So you better, if you want to read Fear Agent for the first time, you better get the Image final editions, which are like chunky trades.
I need to read those books, dude. I have them. I've had them from the day they came out and never really read them.
I've only read half of the story. I should finish that soon. I always keep forgetting.
I have a first print of Volume 1, and I met Remender at a convention, and he signed it and they did a little sketch in there for me.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
Oh, and this is important, by the way.
Can we get 40 likes before the show is done? I hope. Where are we at now? I'm not looking at the YouTube stuff. We're at 27.
All right, everybody should hit the like button.
And you know what? Also, if you haven't subscribed to us yet, and this is your first time around, or you just kind of you live on the edge and you're non-committal, subscribe to us. Tell your friends to subscribe to us and to catch us on the live shows and join the chat. I mean, you guys are very active on the chat, and we make you very active on the show now with this new format where we can put people's questions and comments on the air.
Mm-hmm.
So it's worth it. And you start finding stuff out, like what's out of print at the same time we find out. So it's really cool.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Do you guys know if Absolute Carnage Ghost Rider issue 1 will be collected in a trade paperback? That hasn't came out yet. The Absolute Carnage Ghost Rider, but
I assume it will be. Right?
Yeah, this day and age, everything gets collected. So when because the Absolute Carnage storyline just started, that issue 1 just came out on Wednesday. So But same with anything else, like Fear Itself or War of Realms or any of these big events. All that little side stuff does end up getting collected in the trade paperback, one way or the other. Did you see Batman Hush?
I haven't.
Animated movie.
I bought it this week, but I haven't seen it yet. I know a lot of people were complaining that it wasn't the proper adaptation, but we'll see. Like I said, I collect the DC animated movies, so I kind of had to get it. But I will watch it and maybe do a video on it on my channel.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out because I like how they used the
cover, the
retailer cover for the cover. I have that poster, the original retailer poster, which was like two posters and that come together, so it's two like long posters.
Yeah,
I have that, and then at San Diego Comic-Con, there was a Mondo did a print, like a big giant poster print of that. That I know somebody who has it, and I'm tempted to buy it from them. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't have any. I'm not really hanging stuff up on the walls right now.
Yeah.
Plus, it's expensive. It's like $75. So I don't know. Seabear, Planet Awesome Comics hit me up, but
that is a dangerous black hole to fall into. The poster game.
Yeah, so I wouldn't get into it as a poster game. I'd get into it because it's Batman Hush. It's Jim Lee. You know, I could get Jim Lee and Scott Williams and Alex Sinclair to sign it for me too one day.
So. Did you guys like Arrow? I do have it on my tablet, and I will read it because it looks interesting. It's very manga-esque, and I want to see what they are able to do with it with a character like that.
Yeah, so, that's one of the new characters I was talking about earlier that came out of Agents of Atlas. That her first appearance, everybody was going crazy for. Because I think, is it her? I think it's her. We got a lot of people were asking about it because I guess she is like the first Filipino female superhero.
Chinese, because there's another one that's Filipino. There's two of them. Yeah. Okay. Omnibus Collectors Network. Has anyone read the Avenging Spider-Man series? I read almost all of it. I think what you're referring to is the Team Up series. And if you like self-contained issues of Spider-Man teaming up with different heroes in the Marvel Universe, then you're going to have a fun time. Every story arc is done by or most of the story arcs are done by different teams with different artists. I do remember the first 3 were done by Joe Mad, and those were pretty awesome. And yeah, some were hit or miss. For the most part, it's a fun little title.
I only read I think it was the first storyline because it was Joe Mad and Spider-Man teaming up with Red Hulk.
Yeah,
they fought a bunch of little moloids.
Yeah, I met Joe. I'm going to say like 4 years ago, and I wanted to get that mini run signed by him. And when I was in line, I'm looking at my comics. I'm like, where did I put? I'm missing something, and I remembered I had left the 3rd issue at home, so I never got it signed. I only have issues 1 and 2, and I was so annoyed that day.
Did you get them signed at least?
Yeah, the first 2.
I thought you were like, I don't have number 3, so I just got out.
Oh no. I'm not that. I'm not that OCD yet.
According to Words in Ink, Super Sons Omnibus is not even at Amazon right now.
Yikes!
So that's so if it's not on in-stock trade, it's not on Amazon. Yeah, that might be the end of that book.
Oh boy,
of its print run.
Kevin, go back a few minutes at the start of this stream, and Gabe did like a review discussion on it, on The Boys.
Yeah, that's like one of our first questions of the show, I think, too.
Yeah.
Quick recap. I like it. And that's it.
How do you guys keep up with your manga reading when there are so many comics and manga coming out? What I usually do is I schedule things I want to invest time on. For example, I watch a lot of shows, so I group them up by dates. Like on Mondays, I'll watch this bunch of shows, and then on Tuesdays, I'll read comics, and then on Wednesdays, I'll read some manga, and I just schedule things like that. Otherwise, everything just piles up, and it becomes a mess, and it gets confusing. All those storylines.
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard to keep up with just reading comics in general. I don't read manga. It's kind of a running joke that I'm against it. I'm really not. Just there's just so much out there, and there's already so much for me to read now. I'm slowly trying to get through the Hickman readathon, so it's really hard to kind of just bounce back and forth and do more than one kind of. I can only focus on one thing at a time basically right now. So, and I think after Secret Wars, because Secret Warriors is awesome. That's a great book so far. I mean, I'm probably like a dozen or so issues into it, but man, it's really, really cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I don't know the issue numbers because I hate it when omnibuses don't number the issues or even reprint the actual cover to the issue. That's the one negative thing about this omnibus. They don't reprint the covers like when you get to that chapter or you get to that part, or even tell you what number it is, But it's the one with Ed McGuinness doing the art, and it's the one where Nick Fury breaks into Harry Osborn's or Norman Osborn's building, and takes him hostage, and they do this whole interrogation thing with another character. Really, really good stuff. That's just a broad stroke. I didn't want to get into any kind of spoiler, but there's a lot of things that Hickman laid and started kind of coming to fruition, like the seeds he planted, like X-Men. It really started to kind of sprout in that issue. It's really cool.
I'm really bad at this, but Gabe, if you want to take a crack at it. Several months remaining for 2019, but what's your pick of comic book series single issue?
Oh, Jesus. I don't read singles. I don't know what the single issues would be.
X-Men has to be on there.
Yeah. I mean, that's also, I didn't want to say X-Men right away because a lot of times, we need to start keeping track of this stuff. It's really just kind of hard to kind of keep it up for a whole year worth of tracking books that come out just to kind of say at the end of the year, this is what I like the best. But X-Men is so fresh in my mind right now, and that House of X #2 was so groundbreaking and so cool that right now is definitely like one of the best things I've read this year, single issue wise. Like that omnibus or that hardcover or whatever it is, when that starts getting reprinted, is going to go quick. That's really going to be what everybody needs to jump on.
So another question from Kenneth. Gabe and Geo, do you guys think post-DC Rebirth, the stories at DC have gone down in quality in the recent comics? I'm not entirely up to date, but we saw this. We see this often. They'll rebrand a line, or they will reboot, regardless if it's Marvel or DC. It doesn't matter. And there's peaks of quality storytelling, and then it goes down, then it goes up again, that sort of plateaus, then it reboots, and it's a cycle, I think. So maybe they're not doing so hot right now, but give it a few and they'll get better.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. You can't expect the same as like a TV show or anything like that. You can't always expect every single season or every single episode to be an amazing, groundbreaking kind of thing. It's going to have your peaks. You're going to have your valleys. The sticking around during those low points make the high points even better a lot of times.
Yep. Leighton asks, Omnibus Collectors, while I'm at it, what is the consensus of Azzarello's Wonder Woman run? I love it. It's one of my favorite DC runs. I loved it since I started reading it in singles way back when it came out. It's a fun, reader-friendly look at Diana's wonderful mystical world. And if you like Greek mythology, contemporary versions of those characters, action-packed, you're going to have a fun time regardless. Plus, it has amazing art by Cliff Chang.
Yeah, Cliff Chang is really the heavy hitter on that book for sure. There are also Brian Azzarello switches up her origin a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also very interesting. Hey, why do you hate manga? I don't hate it. I don't have a problem, with it. I just don't.
It's a
really
running gag.
Yeah, it's a running gag, and I just, I've never read it, but I do like anime a lot. So my friend was telling me earlier about a anime called Fairy Tale. You know about that, Gio?
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it has a really large following. And some of the best music is on that show.
Oh, really?
If you can, check out on YouTube or whatever, type Fairy Tale battle music or something that somebody made like a 30-minute video with all the songs. It is awesome. It's unlike any other soundtrack in anime. I love it. It's very folklorish and sort of Celtic sounding.
Yeah, and with anime, I like the more. I don't like it when the anime is like kind of kiddie and they gets kind of silly with the big eyes and the big mouths, and like when they're stressed, they get like that one sweat,
sweat drop,
one big giant sweat drop thing. That kind of stuff is silly to me. But things like Akira, Dragon Ball Z. I mean, Dragon Ball Z kind of does that kind of silly stuff too.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more into it than just that, really. Like Tank Police. I mean, there's just so much to read already. There's so much to do already. It's hard to kind of just switch gears.
Mm-hmm.
Attack on Titan is one of my favorite things.
Oh, that's solid. Yeah. Joe, do you guys know if Snyder's planning to complete his American Vampires soon? Wasn't there news on that he was going to start soon?
From my memory, yeah, if I remember correctly, that he is
a few weeks ago or something.
Yeah, that's another omnibus I want to pick up, to be honest.
Kevin, what do you think about Kevin Conroy playing Batman in the Arrowverse crossover? That's going to be epic. I cannot wait to see that.
Dude, that Arrowverse crossover Crisis on Infinite Earth thing is going to be crazy. They got everybody you ever wanted to play a character.
Yep.
Like Brandon Roth, whatever the guy that was playing the Atom.
Yeah.
He's going to play Kingdom Come Superman.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really cool to see that kind of stuff come back around. That these showrunners. This is the last season, I think, right? So they're kind of
it's the final. Yeah, Arrow ended, and some of the other shows. I think they're still going. I'm not too sure.
They're just doing whatever they want. They're just pulling strings and making what they're obviously fans. They're not doing it for us. I think they're just doing it for themselves, which is just very lucky for us that we all seem to like the same stuff.
There was a rumor that Linda Carter was going to be in it, but that was debunked. She's not going to be participating. But Burt Ward, I think he might be on for the crossover as Robin.
I saw another thing where Mark Hamill might be the Joker or something too.
Yeah, that hasn't been confirmed, but that would be amazing if it were true.
And they've been kind of doing that kind of thing from the start. I mean, the guy that plays Barry Allen's dad, the guy that played the original Flash in the original Flash series, and then in this show he was
he's Jay Garrick from Earth 3 or 4 or whatever.
Yeah.
So much to read and so little time. I agree, Kevin. It's Cinematic Galaxy. The first female Thor oversized hardcover seems to be out of print too. I've had it on back order from IST for at least 2 weeks.
Ugh.
Wow.
Might be, yeah.
Well, the first Thor stuff from Aaron is out of print because mine from it got waterlogged and the dust jacket is just horrible. But I'm keeping it because I don't want to pay over cover price for it because people are asking a lot for it on third-party sites, sellers.
Oh, you mean like his God of Thunder stuff?
Mm-hmm. The first Thor stuff, yeah. Gabe and Gio, are you reading Usagi Yojimbo now at IDW? I want to start. I have the first Dark Horse trade, but I haven't. I started reading it and I just fell off and didn't continue. So I do want to pick up the IDW stuff to see if it's the same quality.
All right. So let's. For Usagi, I've never read a single Usagi Yojimbo, so no, I'm not reading the IDW stuff. All right. I think start winding this down. It's been an hour and a half.
A lot of questions.
A lot of great questions from everybody. We'll do. There's one last one here that just popped up that seems pretty fun. We'll do this and we'll start ending the show. Highlighter wants to know: A, fall book purge, or B, take a trip to IKEA?
I wish I had sellers that would buy my stuff locally, so I don't have to ship anything. So I can't purge.
I'm purging right now a little bit, so I'm always in that kind of mentality of trying to kind of just weed out and cut down the fat and try to keep my collection to what I want it to be of my favorite books and books that I think are the essential type stuff or my favorite type of stuff. Like I got a lot of 90s Spider-Man and 90s X-Men stuff back there.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to kind of just keep it there if at all possible. So I'd say if you're it's either buy more book space or make more book space. I say make more book space. All right. So with that said, thank you again to everybody in the chat for all your great questions and comments. A lot of great compliments. We got some birthdays hanging out in the chat today. This great episode has been sponsored by a fantastic website called InStockTrade.com. That is your number one go-to spot for your trade paperback and collected comic book editions. Visit InStockTrades.com where you can get discounts up to 50% off. Every quarter, there is a special Omnibros code that we had not too long ago. So it's going to be a while. The next one comes out, but that's our way of giving back to you guys who follow us on YouTube and on Instagram and who just follow around our show and all of us individually as it is. They have great, fantastic customer service.
Yep.
And the absolute best shipping anywhere. So check out InStockTrades.com. And don't forget to catch us tomorrow on our Monday show, which is hauls, reads, and previews and releases for the week, along with In-Stock Trades pricing as well. So, Gio, where can everybody find you, my friend?
You can subscribe to my channel if you want to hear me talk about anime, comics, manga, and everything else in between. That's A Week in Geekdom on YouTube.
And everybody, you can find me on Instagram, Gabe Infinity Watch. You can find Gio and myself also on the Omnibus Collectors Facebook group. So again, you guys could have been doing anything this Sunday morning, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that. And we hope to see you guys tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Yes, end broadcast. This takes a minute.